Welcome, Warrior. We have a lot to cover on this Wednesday afternoon, October 15th. I can't even believe we're midway through October. So filter in, give me a 5x5. Let me know you're here. I see Fred is here. All I can say, Fred, is, geez, they're serious at the Google. Please make sure you're subscribed to our Warriors channel. I have no shame. I want to get the Warriors channel onto that superhighway on YouTube. So this information, it's more critical and crucial about protecting our kids than ever before. So let me put my specs on. Before we start though, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Make sure you like these videos and make sure when we're done, if you like them enough, you share them on your platforms. Let's leverage our platforms for good because so much is going on. We can't keep up with it. The Warriors will be hitting the road tomorrow for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to try to get videos in and postings as much as I can. But the critical and crucial work of protecting our kids is at hand and is a national crisis. So let's see what we have. Lionel Nation says 5x5. Thank you. Claudie says, hello, everyone. William Smith is here. That is good enough for me as everybody filters in. I want to start with today. You've been here. You've heard me talk about KOSA, Kids Online Safety Act. We unleashed a letter to the House, which is Speaker Mike Johnson, 400 plus organizations, very diverse organizations. Some are considered Democratic or left. Some are considered conservative right. Some are considered here nor there, but organizations on a national, state, and local level supporting the Kids Online Safety Act and urging Congress, what are they waiting for? Because while they wait, kids are expiring. Remember, here on YouTube, we have algorithms, so I'll use a couple of different words. Let's see where this goes. It must be brought to a House vote. It passed the Senate 91-3, unheard of. Currently, we have 60 sponsors on this. Another large number will be working fervently with urgency. I'll be working on all the New York senators to gain more support, so stay tuned for all of that. But please look at our X account, our Facebook, because if you want to sign on, you can do that. We need numbers. There is no reason that this is not passed into legislation, except it's calling out big tech. It simply says, and don't believe any of the press you read because we know big tech is behind it and all of their money. So if you were to go online, you might not see such nice things about Kids Online Safety Act, not stealing anybody's privacy information, simply putting a duty of care that the big tech platform itself must take down content, right? It's crazy we have to fight this hard, but stay tuned for this. But I'll tell you who's not worried about any of this. It was also announced today, Chat GPT, that everybody I know is using. I was in a room the other day of a lot of tech people, and the question was proposed, who in here has used Chat GPT? And everybody raised their hand, including me, right? Did you know that when you look something up on Chat GPT, it requires 10 times the amount of energy than when you Google something? Now think about that. So if everybody's on Chat GPT and it will only grow, that is why they are building these tremendous data centers. The biggest one right now, follow the thread here, two of them, Louisiana, home of Speaker Mike Johnson. I wonder if, well, we'll leave that one. And also Texas, home of Ted Cruz. Wonder about that one too. Claudia says, I was just reinforcing my resumes through GPT. You know what I actually use it for a lot, believe it or not? I will put in, now remember, we have to understand, where does this information come from? Things on ChatGPT can be incorrect. So we have to do a little further research. We can't just take it as, final word. I use it a lot I'll write a paragraph and sometimes put it in and say, is this the correct grammar? Did I use the correct punctuation? I use it for things like that. Give me another word for things like that. But ChatGPT just announced Sam Altman, right? Remember him seated at the dinner table with the president and Melania Trump talking about AI? That ChatGPT, remember we're all using it now, is going to have an erotic channel, an erotica chat GPT. That almost sounds, I don't even know, but an erotica chat GPT. So my first question when I saw the headline was, how is this enforced? How do we know kids won't be on it? Because history has proven with all these big tech platforms that kids are savvy, kids figure out a way, but basically they don't have to figure out too much because big tech platforms have left things open so the kids can easily get on these platforms. I said to myself, well, let me read a little more about this. Well, they're going to have an age verification. I want to see how this one works because that to me is a total grab of information. What does that mean? I couldn't find anything further. Is that you download your license? You're going to give your eyeball or your fingerprint or something? Because don't think that's not coming in the very near future. I'm sure they have all those kinks worked out. They're just waiting to unleash it on us. But they're gearing this erotica chat GPT where you can have sexual dialogue with your computer. This is sick. But my concern here is for the kids who have already been inundated with all of this sexual content and predators and garbage, and that they're going to be gearing it for the 40 plus crowd. I mean, does this not sound crazy? I mean, somebody say something. This is really out of control, but it is what it is, so we have to deal with it. My concern is, what is that age verification? What is that process? And also, how are we going to keep the kids off it? Again, as history has proven, these big tech platforms don't care about kids. Remember, they're the eyeballs. They are the ones you addict. Those are the ones, they just want numbers and numbers and numbers to get advertisers. Because I don't know about you, but all my platforms, which I do for business, I'm inundated now with boost this, Facebook ads, join in this, join in that. We know it's a money maker, right? But let's also talk about this Kids Online Safety Act. It unleashed. And, when you have 400 plus organizations and we're working on more and more congressional support, word gets around. Don't forget those big techers, those big tech platforms, they have a lot of lobbyists on Capitol Hill. And even though we hear the government is shut down, I dare say they're still there working and wielding and creating chaos. But that's me. That's my opinion. So they got wind of this letter, in my opinion, would be unleashed today. We want Kids Online Safety Act passed. It is the simplest, most slightest thing. Big tech, you're responsible. Take down that dialogue. Take down that picture. If not, you're going to get in trouble. It's that kind of thing. It's basically not that much to ask, right? And it went through many revisions. We are into the 5th year with the Kids Online Safety Act. That's almost embarrassing to say. Language was changed. First it was, one of the points was, at one point it was, something like all youth, all children. And there you go. Somebody had to start with, it has to specifically say like LGBTQ and lay it out like that. So all those little things, those roadblocks, just to hold all of this up. Okay, here we are. It's got to pass. It's basically asking for so little, and it would go so far to help parents whose children have been harmed and parents who can't keep up with all of this. So we want this passed in this Congress. We are heading towards November. December will be here before you know it. Now remember, each Congress that comes in, each session, you start from the bottom, you reintroduce, and that excuse that we don't have time to get it on the calendar. Excuse me, you make time when it comes to our precious kids. So let's also talk about, I want to go back to make sure this chat GPT is not in your home, is not seeping in, because I sent out a newsletter from the Warriors this morning. There is still time. Please sign up. Go to linswarriors.org. Scroll down on the right side. You will see e-newsletter about Google and Gemini. Now, I want to explain this to you because obviously we want to talk about kids and keeping them safe, our future adults, our future American leaders, but it really applies this information to all of you. And that would be that this Gemini program, it seems great. It does your planning for you. It does, for instance, if you're a teacher, it will do all your lessons for you. It will plot out, subjects to cover under world history. It'll give you your bullet. I mean, it's a time saver, right? Again, okay, keep that aside. Now, I've been surveying parents I know who have kids in public school, and I've been asking, did you ever sign anything in your school for tech and AI? All of them have come back to me with the same answer, yes. I said, okay. Did you understand what was being requested of you and your child? And did you see something called Gemini, Google? Did you just see Google? And the response would be, I don't know. I think I just saw Google. So Google is now sneaking this in, this Gemini AI program under Google, right? I think Google goes in one ear out the other these days. We're used to Google, 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 Google. They're not presenting themselves correctly, right? They're sneaking this Gemini in. Now, here's the problem with Gemini. It is an AI program. So while teachers think, great, this is helping me with my lesson plans, organization in the classroom, cuts down on time. Some of them have said, well, I can spend that time even teaching more. The children also have access to this Gemini Google program, which enables them, we just got phones out of the classrooms here in New York City and many other states because we didn't want the kids distracted, right? But now we're bringing it into the classroom. So you want them distracted. You don't want them distracted. You're bringing Gemini in, the AI, which means kids are being taught and being encouraged to use this. Now, does this make any sense? To use this program, any program like this, AI. You know where I'm going with this. Can anybody guess? And while I'm waiting for somebody to guess, Fred says, since China recently took the AI advantage, we will probably speed ahead on steroids. I think we're on steroids already. We're on steroids plus. What's after steroids? Because I'm seeing this in front of my eyes and what is going on the federal level. And then what I'm seeing on the state level is a little quieter, but the federal level is all in on this. Okay, well, here's what's happening. If anybody wants to weigh in, the predators will be there. Remember, they're always 10 steps ahead. If kids have access, our children, to going online with AI, with ChatGPT, the predators will be there, or the kids will be able to access things they shouldn't be accessing. And remember, all of these platforms, as proven by whistleblowers and the studies coming out lately, which I'm so thankful for, and stats, that there are dangerous algorithms, meaning your child is innocently perhaps looking for something. You're looking for something. It happens to us as adults, and you're led down a path very quickly. Now, also, Gemini. So if anybody out there is a parent, a grandparent, please check this out, because we can't have phone-free classrooms because we don't want kids disturbed or getting involved with content during the school day they shouldn't be looking at, such as pornography. But then we're handing them Gemini AI and encouraging them to use it for their assignments in the classroom. And also think about this. Again, a refresher, everybody. Where does that information from the ChatGPT come from, right? Whose information? Are there biases? Are there, we don't know. We don't know. Anything I look at, sometimes I just put something in to read it. I know when I put myself in, there are 2 incorrect facts about me. I don't know where they came from, but they remain there. And I check every couple of days. Why are those facts there about me? So what are the kids being, dealt with all of this? So Gemini, everybody, is Google. And again, Google's coming into the schools under Google. It's not broken down into Gemini. Be very careful. Because remember, there's parental autonomy. Your child should not be using any tech platform unless you have signed off on it. Last week, when I was at the Project Healthy Minds Summit here in New York, we were talking about this, and many parents were there. We call them survivor parents. Their children have been harmed, or the ultimate harm, from internet addictions, cyberbullying, sextortion, and they bravely come out to talk to kids. This can happen, and to other parents. They are a group. I feel like when I'm in Washington, I see them. When I'm in Albany, I see them. This gives them strength to talk about their child, right? And they all say the same thing. They don't want any other parent to go through what they have gone through. And when we talked about Gemini, it came, to our attention, which we knew about, but they didn't know about. That's why we have to spread the word. You have to sign off. Your school can't just say Google, and you may have signed off on Google. What in Google? It's this dangerous Gemini program. So please sign up for the newsletter. I break it down very succinctly, what we have to look for, what we have to do, but you have to get involved in the schools. For any parents out there listening, 2025, you have to be a part of it. You have to know what's going on. You have parental autonomy. Exert it. It is your right, because that's what they go after. I don't have to educate all of you here. We see it in education. We see it in medical. We see it in society. We see it in entertainment, music, right? There is a war on for our children. Fred brings up a good point. Can they put a DM filter in the mix for school assignments? Well, they claim that on a lot of these things, because that is where the predators are going now. For instance, on Snap and gaming and all that, they slide into those DMs, those direct messages. They know how to get around the predators, these DMs, right? So there's nothing really foolproof. They say they're going to put filters on things. And also, when this letter was coming out, which broke today and circulated widely, Instagram announced, well, we're going to have now some filters. I think those are their words. I want to get it correctly. And we're going to have, for YouTube, for Instagram, we're going to make it for 13. I want to see exactly what's going on here so I give you the right information. Well, Meta. Now remember, everybody, Meta is Facebook, Instagram, let's see, WhatsApp, Threads, and something else, right? Okay, Instagram. Heard about the letter, in my opinion, and they rushed to implement one of the key recommendations. There's a fantastic group, colleagues of ours, Fair Play for Kids. And if you're in the New York City area on October 29th and 30th, there is a pop-up immersive coming together from Bark Technologies. Bark makes fantastic phones. It's an iPhone, except for kids. You can just call on it or text on it. There is no internet capabilities, so your child doesn't feel left out. There are alternatives, everybody. Let me remind you. So Bark is coming to the city and doing this pop-up free for everybody. How childhood was in 1987. It's a retrospective and how it should be today. And it's immersive. So everybody's welcome. Again, go to Lynn's Warriors Facebook X account to see. You must RSVP, because the pop-up immersive experience takes about 30 minutes. And there's already an overwhelming desire for people attending and RSVPing. So we need everybody, timing it. We can't have the building too crowded, but it's right here in Midtown. I urge all of you, if you are around, free, you come and experience. But I wanted to get back to this. Fair Play had put out not too long ago teen accounts broken promises report, because Instagram said we're going to have teen accounts now for 13-year-olds and things like that. But when Fair Play tested these teen accounts, this is all in the last year, still there was sexual content, still there were predators, still there was drug selling. So they broken promises, right? So now they're hearing about the letter, in my opinion, and they're claiming as of today, they will put some filters on Instagram teen accounts that will stop pushing sexualized and violent content to teens. But there's no reason we should trust Meta, which is Instagram, because it's been nothing but broken promises. Fair Play has gotten this right. I mean, we saw Mark Zuckerberg, Congress, standing in front of parents when Senator Kennedy asked him to turn around, and Senator Josh Hawley apologized to these parents holding up pictures of their children. And it was the most watered down, I'm sorry. I almost said damn straight. I just did. I don't know if I can say that. I mean, yes, you said that, Mark Zuckerberg, with your billions of dollars. And by the way, you don't allow your own children, you said it, not me. You don't allow them to have any social media. But you are basically making money and harming our children. So we don't believe any kind of new safety tools and filters on anything are going to work because, again, we have these broken promises. But we do have the Kids Online Safety Act. And we know that this would help with something like this. And we also know the other thing, no other business runs like this. Let me remind everybody, all the warriors out there, no other business can run untested like this. No transparency. We need safety teams. Now, part of this Instagram announcement, this Meta announcement was we're going to have more of a safety council. Okay, who are the people? How many people? What are they going to be looking for? Who determines what's safe content, what's not safe content? Am I going to get shut down because I have an opinion somebody doesn't like? It's all so murky. That brings me to my point of saying these councils of well-being. That's what the erotica, let's go back to ChatGPT and their erotica ChatGPT. They're going to have a council of well-being. Who are these people deciding what's good for you, me, anybody? Again, no transparency. So big tech, it's just the history, has been operating without transparency, allowed to harm, continued to harm, continued to grow. We're now in the throes of artificial intelligence. And I'm telling you about Gemini, something that was just kind of snuck into the kids' classrooms. You didn't sign up for it. You didn't sign up for it. So we have to talk about all of this. A reminder, anxiousgeneration.com is a wonderful site born out of the book, The Anxious Generation by Professor Jonathan Haidt, Haidt. Now, this book has maintained 81 weeks, whatever you think of the New York Times bestselling list. It's been on the list, whatever that means, 81 weeks. And the studies, the stats about the direct correlation of kids, 90% of 9 to 17-year-olds, 90% in 2015 had iPhones 10 years ago. And how that directly correlates with the decline of children in academics, the increase of depression, anxiety, eating disorders, cyberbullying, which the bottom line is social media is not good for kids. That is really the bottom line. When we have, as of 2 days ago, our youth are spending 9 hours a day on average online with 237 notifications, right? Things are popping up. That's why getting them out of the classrooms, the teachers were saying they're, even if they have them off, they're vibrating maybe, or they're just looking down, they're seeing something, they keep it on their desk, that things keep popping up. That's why we need them out of classrooms. So this, I will commend our Governor Kathy Hochul and many other states that have pulled that program together very quickly. And for the naysayers out there that write to me and say, well, the kids are still online, at least for those 6 hours. They're focused on school, their friends, talking, eye contact, uptick, as reported, in kids taking out library books. So we have some good there. At least we have that chunk. Now we've got to take that into our own homes and communities. I always tell you, look, we're not getting rid of any of our devices, but we can control them. We can get our kids off them and ourselves off them. I always say 15 minutes a day and work back to it. So what do we have to do for kids? We have to keep an eye on them. We have to talk to them open and honestly. We have to get a handle on AI, artificial intelligence. Is it in your child's school? Is it in your home? Because all of my, no matter what I'm doing now, I'll get an AI popping up companion. I'll get an AI, do you want this to go to ChatGPT? I'm getting all these things popping up on all my platforms. So it's there. And remember, the kids are the product. Big tech wants them for the long haul, right? And collecting the information. And what I'm still asking, building these huge AI facilities, the ChatGPT and all of this in Texas, in Louisiana, and other places, what are they going to do with all that information? Why is that information valued in the billions of dollars? What's going on? Nobody can answer that question for me. So you need to do it. We'll fight for you in Washington. We'll fight for you, state capitals. We'll do all that. And by the way, the states are doing much better work right now than the federal government as far as child safety, because they are getting involved with COSA, Kids Online Safety Act, to get other sponsors. They're also age verification, phone-free, classrooms. They are doing, again, much better work than the federal government. So it's very disappointing to see all in. The government wants global dominance with AI. That's fine. We're the United States. We hear that all the time. But where is that safety component for children and their families? Why does everything have to be put on parents and kids and even, I dare say, educators? Where didn't we not learn from the internet, basically born in 1996, from all of these problems? We always talk about it, the warriors, but with solutions. We want to always have solutions and resources and take actions. Rolling out AI, they should have had some guardrails. But no, they don't. I have to follow up on this Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. I know Senator Hawley was introducing something to sunset that, get rid of that. That's never been amended. Basically says, big tech, have at it. You're a billboard, you're a newsstand. But in 1996, there were like 2 platforms. We didn't have to worry about all these things. Fred says those time-lapse breaks are very important. Absolutely. Anytime we can get a kid to just be. And this goes for college students and high school students and little kids. It goes for everybody, right? I like to say 30 and under, but it applies to everybody. Your mind needs to slow down, right? Because you're constantly swiping on the phone or checking on the phone. I'm going back to wearing a watch like I used to because I check the time on my phone constantly. And I don't want to do that. So if I have a watch on, I'm not going to be looking at my phone. So there's little tricks like that. You may want to get your child a watch, right? And not an Apple Watch where they have capability of the internet. I'm talking an old-fashioned watch, a Timex. I don't even know if they make Timexes anymore. Remember, they used to have them in the drugstore, like on a stand, Timex watches. It was always a big deal, 8th grade or high school graduation. You got a nice watch. But I'm going back to a watch. So I'm just having the battery installed as we speak, and I'll be wearing the watch, so I'm not looking at the phone. Now, that being said, we have some resources and takeaways. Your homework is Kids Online Safety Act. I want you to go to our Facebook, to our X account. I want you to read that letter and see if there's any way you can participate. You can add your name as an individual. Remember, the more names and zip codes we have, the better off we have a chance of passing. I used to say at the Warriors, when a congressional office gets 10 or so requests on the same subject, then they have to address it. Now I'm hearing they address it 6. That's beautiful. So 6. And you can call, you can email. We've got house.gov, we've got senate.gov, but you will see how to fill out COSA. It's right there for you. You press on the link. We've done all the work for you. And you hit the send button, and it will go to your correct representatives. So I want you to look at that. I want you to think about, if you're in the New York area, coming to this immersive pop-up on the 29th and 30th, free, from Bark Childhood. If you have any children, grandchildren in your lives, I've been sending it to everybody in this tri-state area. I want them to bring kids. It's basically probably appropriate for 12, 13 and up, I will say. Not little kids, a lot of flashing lights perhaps and things like that. But we want to get back. And there have been stories recently where landlines are coming back into homes. Great thing, Remember on the kitchen wall? Kind of a community phone. So we have that going on. But again, anxiousgeneration.com. So many facts about the correlation of the iPhone in 2015. Because before that, 2010, 2012, lots of kids were getting phones, but basically little flip phones, just for texting, just for calling, no internet capability. But 2015 is when it all changed with the iPhone. Because that is, as my husband reminds me all the time, that is not really a phone. That's not the right word. We're using it for shorthand, but that is opening up the world to your child. No guardrails, right? It's like opening the front door, welcoming the world in, but we lock our front doors, most of us. We keep the strangers out. So why are we allowing this with our kids? It's an onboard computer. You're handing your child a computer. The gateways to hell, I dare say. But we're going to leverage the internet for good. And we're going to do that by talking about it. We're going to do that by having our guardrails, limiting time on it. It goes for all of us with this. We're going to talk about these subjects, but go to anxiousgeneration.com because it'll reinforce in your mind. It'll make you really want to take action when you read for that and advocate. I mean, we have the new norm, which is we're thinking, no, you really don't need a phone before 8th grade. Okay. Again, I can't tell you what to do. There's something called parental autonomy, but you don't need a phone before 8th grade. You don't. You also don't need social media, I put in quotes, until you're 16. We also want to talk to our kids. I keep saying it over and over again like a broken record. It's not them and us, it's us together in all of this. It's a digital family partnership, right? And then finally, we want to get our kids back to getting off the phones. I mean, if it's taking a walk, I always tell you this, walking the dog, throwing in some laundry, give them chores. Let kids, a question the other day was, and I've heard this before, oh, my children constantly say they're bored. So a parent who's busy, who's overwhelmed, who's cooking dinner, who's trying to go to a job, who's trying to do the homework, might hand the iPad to keep the child quiet. But that's what we have to break. And I know it's hard, but we have to do it. Because remember, wherever the children are, so are the predators. And just for a minute, and we learned so much during COVID, when kids were on their Chromebooks, government issued, doing their schoolwork, right? Or on iPads, doing their schoolwork. Mother would walk into the kitchen, come back, and there was porn all over these devices. Government issued, they had no guardrails on them. Once seen, you cannot unsee. So kids were seeing things and hearing things for the first time they didn't need to see and hear. And this is not about being a prude. This is about, it comes from you, right? Parental autonomy. It comes from you, the grandparents. It comes from us. It's not about a stranger, right? But things are getting very ugly and violent online. We've got a lot of problems with boys and these different incel groups that are forming now, where they're finding identity because they feel very alienated. And girls suffering so much from eating disorders and comparison to what, I don't know, Kylie Jenner running around in her Mercedes, in a mansion and jewels and furs, and it's fake. And the good news is we work with a lot of kids. They are waking up and they're saying, we don't want this. I'm talking about like the 25-year-olds. We don't want this for ourselves. We're turning off. And we also don't want this for our younger siblings, okay? And a lot of kids are doing not on Sundays, no devices. So that's the problem with the schools. If they're giving homework and they say use the AI, the Gemini, you got to go to your school. You got to be on top of it. You got to talk about it. You have to know what's going on. Leslie's here says, hello. Fred, now it'll be a Mickey Mouse watch chatbot. Well, Disney sued Character AI, the company that was creating all of these chatbots, digital friends. They gave them a cease and desist, from what I understand, because so many kids were using the Disney characters to create their chatbots, the Disney princesses, and all of those that kids have grown up with, the movies and things like that, and TV shows. So I believe Character AI took those away, but we still have superheroes, Smurfs, a lot of other child identified chatbots, again, shorthand, digital friends. So we have to, those are most dangerous because they learn you and then they can turn that on you. And they learn you 24 to 48 hours. And then they start thinking on their own. They have your information and they may tell that child, oh, your mother yelled at you? Because the child said, my mother's mad at me and I'm sick of her. You're sick of her, the chatbot might say. We know how to take care of that. Let me give you some suggestions. Now, the problem with this is, well, I think you know the problem with this, but we're hearing from the experts, the doctors, that the children on the spectrum, autism, and all of those related, kind of disabilities, these children are now being really targeted because they can't get out of realizing they're in a relationship with this digital friend, this cute little Smurf or whatever it might be, talking to them. They always have a friend. They could go 24 hours talking back and forth, back and forth. But when the parent takes it away, it comes to the parent's, attention, These kids are ending up not understanding that wasn't real, and they're not snapping back. Where we now have studies that say, well, kids that are relatively healthy, once the parents get involved, they can snap back. So that's frightening as well, that these children are being targeted. So we've got a lot to keep our eyes on. Just know, don't believe big tech when they tell you they're doing everything in their power to keep your children safe. I even saw a commercial, I think it was yesterday morning on one of the cable networks about this and Instagram keeping your kids safe. And they're not. Keep in mind, you have a lot of resources. You have 988. If your kids are in trouble, Suicide Prevention Lifeline, just to ask questions. Yes, for an emergency, but also questions, local resources. You always have 1-800 The Lost, which is, again, if you lose a child or they've run away, but also you can ask questions. You also have cybertipline.org. If something does happen, your child comes to you, you see something, you don't erase it, you don't yell at the child, you don't go crazy. Yes, you take a breath, none of us like this, but then you report it. You need a trail, okay? But we must advocate for our children. We must be those warriors. We must stand up to all of this. Gracie says, I teach my grands simple games from yesteryear. They love playing them most. Absolutely. Cards, jacks, even all checkers, like all that stuff to stimulate. Let the kids say they're bored. Because you know what? I don't think I finished that thought before. They'll find something eventually to do. When you don't pay attention, they'll find. And if nothing else, it allows their mind to stop and think a little bit and critically analyze or daydream or whatever that is. And that's what we have to get back. We have to reverse the course. So I recommend all of these things, projecthealthyminds.com, anxiousgeneration.com, always linswarriors.org. Sign up for that newsletter. It is going out again tomorrow. And I want you to learn about Gemini. Fred says, my ChatGPT AI analyst knows me very well indeed. Fred, be careful. You're a warrior and we love you. Fred, we've got to be careful of where is all this information going? What are they going to do with it? Are they going to turn it against us? When I hear, okay, erotica, they're calling it, not me, erotica ChatGPT for the 40 plus crowd. But we're going to have age verification. How are they going to do that? Again, is that going to be your license? Is that going to be your retina? Is that going to be your fingerprint? I mean, we know that's all sitting there, but that's where we're heading. Be very careful. Remember, anything you post online remains there forever, even if you delete it. Kids all the time say, well, I deleted it. Adults tell me that. No, it's been screen grabbed. It's been there in a cloud somewhere. It is there. Think twice before posting things. Share facts. Don't share fears. Don't get on that whole, runaway train of you see somebody getting all kinds of likes and traffic and they're calling people names and you haven't verified it. And watch what you take from ChatGPT. Make sure it's the correct information. And with that, warriors, remember, we want to thank you for all of your support for our education programs, our support of survivors of all forms of trafficking. Support. So I promise you, I will be back in the next week from the road. I've got this figured out this time to bring you updates as we move along with COSA. We move along in the protection of our children, but I leave you with one thought. Remember, community creates change. Get into those schools. Get into those communities. Start questioning. Start asking more. And start protecting our children. Thank you, everybody. Now go out and be a warrior.